Hey guys, what's going on? So today in this video, this is kind of a unofficial part 2 of last week's in-depth video because I didn't really go in-depth on like the certain baits that I would throw on a Texas rig, and I also didn't really go in-depth on the Texas rig itself. So this is going to be it. Now I'm not going to be going out on the water for this specific video, but here in a little bit I will be going out on the water for a entirely different video. It'll be swim baits. That's going to be the in-depth video that I do later on today. So, the Texas rig itself, this here is my favorite setup. This here is my big Berkley Big Game. It's basically a muskie / catfish rod with the Shakespeare Agility. I got 20-pound monofilament line. I think this is at Omniflex, which is like the real cheap Walmart line. And set up on this, you can see it doesn't move or anything. That's what you want for flipping. I have a peg right there. You all can see that peg. 1/2 ounce bullet weight. Now I normally go with a 1/2 ounce when I'm flipping, just because it'll get it down through there quicker, get it down to where the fish are at. And for a hook, I have a 3/0 EWG Gamakatsu hook. I personally use EWGs over like a straight shank just because they're easier to rig. They're you can rig them up quick and you don't have to worry about it. So, what are the main baits that I throw? So, one of these is actually kind of a different bait. It's a completely different bait than anybody else would throw, but I've actually caught some pretty decent bass using these, and that is a swim bait. I actually flipped into a tree. Not with this specific swim bait. I think it was one of, hang on a second. I'm pretty sure I was using one of these. A 4.75 inch Strike King Rage Tail swimmer. I'm pretty sure I was using one of those. But another great little Texas rig bait is this one here. Now, how you normally Texas rig a swim bait for flipping is just like you Texas rig anything else. You go up through. I can go ahead and rig this one up if you have never rigged a Texas rig before. You go up through like that. You go around. Usually, pull the weight up. Go up. Now, I like to go over the eyelet. Just like so. That way, the knot will be protected. Then you go back up through like this. Your hook is there. You expose it, which basically means you put the point of the hook into the bait. And just like that. And plus, with the bigger weight, it gives that swim bait a little bit bigger profile as well. Makes it look a little bit longer and skinnier. And okay, I'm getting really freaked out. Okay, so I was sitting here getting all the baits out, getting ready for the video, and I heard something walking around in there, and hello? I don't like this house. Okay, getting a little bit freaked out because I walked in there and there's nothing there, and I can still hear it walking around, and I got a knife with me, just in case. Hello? I don't like this at all. Okay, sorry about that. Kind of getting sidetracked. Anyway, yeah, little Texas rig swim bait is a great little tool. Comes down through there really easily because just this tail kicking, and then you pull it up. I've caught two, probably close to 3.5 pounders doing this, just flipping a little Texas rig swim bait. And it works really well. A lot of people never think of Texas rigging a swim bait and flipping it, but it actually works quite well. So go ahead and I'll take this off of here. But yeah, Texas rig swim bait. This here is a Reaction Innovations Skinny Dipper, I believe is what that is called. So other baits, this one here is actually one of my baits here. It is the Flat Runner. These here work super well in Texas rigs because when they're sitting on the bottom, this tail kind of floats up and it sits kind of like this here, and it has a really good waving action to it, and it looks really good in the water. Next, another good bait. This here is a good bluegill imitator, and that is a Strike King shell cracker. A really good little bluegill imitator. It's got these two, waving flanges on the bottom, which perfect color. This here is, I think, called KVD Magic or something like that, and great color. It's kind of got like a silver gray belly with kind of a greenish blue top, and it looks really, really good in the water. It looks just like a little bluegill. Next would be a tube. Now, a tube is something that most people think of when they're thinking of smallmouth fishing, but a Texas rig tube can work really well, and a lot of people don't really know how to rig a Texas rig tube, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about that real quick. Now, this is just a normal hollow belly. I think this is a 3-inch Zoom or Yum tube, I don't remember. But basically how I usually do it is I go up through top, just like that. Then come back out, just like that. Go up, make sure your bait goes over the knot. That's just something that I've always done. You don't have to do it, but it's something that I always do. Then you pinch the bait together. That way both sides are together. And just Texas rig it just like that right there. And it works really well. And it'll go through the water. Now, usually I would go with something a little bit thinner, like a thinner tube, because you see how much is like off of the weight. That is a problem sometimes when you're flipping like super heavy cover, but if you're flipping like lighter cover, or just if you're flipping holes in grass, you don't have to worry about it. So other baits that are really good, these are all Strike King baits. These next three, most of the flipping baits, like I think 4 out of the 7 are Strike King baits. But this here is a Strike King rodent. The bigger of the 2 bass that I caught that are out there in my pond was caught on this specific color and bait right here. This is a 4-inch Strike King watermelon red colored rodent. Super good bait. Next is a Strike King Rage Bug. Or no, sorry, this is a Rage Craw. Rage Craw is a really good bait. I know Realistic Fishing loves these things. He always is using them on his videos, Texas rigged. They do work really well. Next is the Rage Bug, like I was saying a second ago. The Rage Bug is another really good bait. The smaller of the 2 bass that are out in my pond was caught on this right here on a Texas rig the same exact day. So my favorite colors for flipping baits, mainly depending on what you're trying to imitate and your water clarity. Now, as you noticed, I don't have very many black and blue type of baits. And the reason for that is because normally our water is not super muddy. Now, unless it's early in the season, which you don't really do much flipping early in the season anyway, I usually do more deep water fishing. Now, if you have muddy water, go with black and blue. Another good color is like, there's a color, what is it called? It's called like hematoma or something like that. It's like black, blue with red flake. That's a really good color as well. If you're imitating a bluegill, if you're going to get this specific bait here, I really don't like this place sometimes. That's weird. I know there's nobody in this house because I haven't checked. But anyway, this color here is called the KVD. Who's there? I don't think the camera's going to pick up any of this. I'm probably going to sound crazy, but I swear somebody keeps walking back and forth in there. Like, I'm getting goosebumps, which is something I don't normally get. This color is called KVD Magic, and it's, like I said, it's got like a silver side here and a green side here. Another good color for imitating bluegill is watermelon red or green pumpkin. If you have like green sunfish or green sunfish hybrids like we have here in our pond and some other places that I fish, the best thing to do is get you some of this stuff right here. It is called Spike It. This here is actually called Crawfish. And it has a pink cap, but it actually turns the bait orange a little bit. So this actually works super duper well, and it definitely works. After I put it on a bluegill swim jig. I put it on the Rage Crawl that I had as a trailer. And after I put that stuff on there, I was having fish come out of the water to try to eat it when I was pulling it up to make another cast. So that stuff definitely works. If you can buy that stuff, definitely buy it because I'm a firm believer in it already. Next, the next colors that I like to throw are the watermelon red. Just like this one here. Watermelon red is a great, great color. Now, as you noticed, the swim baits, the two swim baits that I showed you have like a brown back with a silver or a white belly. The reason for that is I've actually made a whole entire video on this, and it's called like neutral color baits or something. It is a bait that mimics both bluegill and a shad. And this one here does the exact same thing with that silver side and then a green side. The white side imitates a shad, but that brown imitates a bluegill. It kind of imitates both, and that is something that is really, really good for flipping in the grass or trees or just casting it around and throwing it, because that green or brown or silver can mimic both bluegill and shad and whatever else bait fish you have in your body of water. Most of the swim baits y'all see me throw is either the dark gray, which is like a smoke gray, white, or this type of color here. And that is the reason why, because the white mimics a shad, the smoke gray kind of mimics both, and this one here mimics both. So that's why I like to throw it. Now this flat runner, I wouldn't flip the white color just because, you know, it's a little bit bright for flipping, but it was just one that I grabbed. Normally I would fish this with either green pumpkin or black, depending on your water clarity as well. And as you've seen here with the Strike King Rage Crawl and the Rage Bug, they're both in green pumpkin. As you can tell by most of the baits that I talked about, green pumpkin is a very, very popular color for myself and for basically all of my family. We all use green pumpkin baits because green pumpkin is just a good color. I've always liked green pumpkin. So again, let me go back over it again if you haven't seen it. But here is the setup. 1/2 ounce bullet weight. You can go with any size you want. My favorite size is either 1/2 ounce or 1/4 ounce, just because it gets it down there pretty quick. 1/2 ounce is actually the biggest bullet weight they sell around here, at least close. So, you know, that's what I use. Next, you know how you do this. Go up through. I usually like to go all the way to the bend of the hook, come back through, twist it, go up over the eyelet, just so that knot will be protected, and you can see how it sits like that. Then, go on ahead, you take the bait, you stick it in like so. It's a little bit hard to rig with that light the way it is, but then you take that, stick it straight into the plastic. That's called Texposing, and there it is. Nice little Texas rig crawl. Sit there and bounce that off the bottom, or flip it in the cover and raise it up, and them pinchers are just flaring, and that there will definitely catch you some pretty big fish. Now you can also use worms. You can use anything from little, 5-inch Senkos all the way up to 10.5-inch worms. Actually, this past Saturday, I was bass fishing with a 10-inch Strike King bullworm, and I actually had like maybe 3 bites, and I didn't capitalize on any of them. I actually didn't even set the hook on them because I didn't know if they had the hook or not. That's something that's kind of bad about using big worms on Texas rigs, because you never know if they have the bait whole or not. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm sorry about me kind of going off and all that. I do apologize. Just kind of a little bit freaked out because it sounds like there's people walking around here when there's not. But anyway, stay tuned. There's another video coming. Thanks for watching.